All right, let's get sewing on our notch top and dress. I'm sewing up a crop with long sleeve here. I'm using a waffle knit. I added some knit interfacing on my notch right here to help it hold its shape just a little bit. And then I'm going to use a matte itty for the lining. We're going to start off on all the options sewing up the shoulder seams. And we're going to move on to the neckline. If you're doing the notch neckline like me, I have the lowest notch neckline here. We're going to start off by sewing that little notch. All right, and now we're going to sew up the rest of the neckline. Your lining is a little bit smaller than your main, so you're going to have to ease it in to your lining. You shouldn't need to stretch, just ease it in. It's just slightly different. And trim up this notch. When you're trimming, you want to snip that center V right up to your stitches, not through. Got a little close up here for you. That will give you a really nice sharp edge. Make sure if you want a sharp V too, you're not using your serger for that little notch. It will not come out as sharp if you cannot make a really sharp little pivot like you can on your sewing machine. I use something to turn out these corners. I used a purple thing. You can also use like a little bamboo stick. I'm going to give this neckline a really nice press. If you are making a sports bra, swimsuit, or anything where you don't want to wear a bra, I recommend adding in clear elastic into the neckline every time, or swim elastic if it's a swimsuit. Now we're going to just sew up the side seams. We're going to do the lining and the main all separately, so just each side seam right sides together, and stitch those suckers up. Alright, we can turn it right sides out. This is a really good time to try on. You can make sure your neckline is fitting nice and neat, and your shoulders, if it's a little loose right here, you can always add in clear elastic now before it's too late. You can also do any alterations to the shoulders if they're looking a little wide. Alright, and sleeves now, and do a memory press real quick, just 1/2 inch to the wrong side. You're going to unfold it, and we're going to stitch down both sleeves down the little side seam there. Okay, now we're going to stitch the sleeves in the round, which just means we've already stitched the side seams up. We're going to turn our bodice wrong sides out and our sleeves right sides out. And make sure you have the right sleeve by making sure you have the front notch and the double back notch the same as the bodice. And then you're going to slip your sleeve inside your bodice. You're going to pin it together. It should be right sides together with your main fabric. Going to align side seams, and then the top center notch on the sleeve cap goes to your shoulder seam on the bodice. Then you have your other notches to align, so your front single notch will align, and then your back double notch will align as well. And you'll notice you have opposite curves here on the arm side and the sleeve cap, so you'll have to ease in the curvy sleeve cap into the arm side. You shouldn't need to stretch anything here. You're just easing in that opposite curve. You'll tell mostly right here between the notches and the shoulder seam where those curves are a little more drastic. Once we get it all pinned up, we're going to sew through these 3 layers around the entire circle on the arm side here. All right, and then we're just going to flip it right sides out, give it a nice good press, and then we can repeat on the other sleeve. And I'm going to do a little movie magic here to do the other one. Boom! And now we're going to work on our waistband. I need to grab all 4 waistband pieces. You should have a front and a back main fabric, and then a front and a back to your lining. We're going to sew up all these side seams here, all just separately. The waistband on this pattern is shaped, so you do need to make sure you keep the top to the top, the bottom to the bottom, the back to the back, the front front. or it won't fit quite as nicely as it should. You can quickly mark the center front and center back of the main and the lining. They are the same size, but this will help ensure that you're not accidentally stretching or easing either of them in, and your waistband will look nice and flat instead of kind of getting wonky in any way. So we're going to put them right sides together along the bottom edge, and we are going to stitch around this bottom circle. Here we go. All right, give that a nice press. You can add in elastic here if you're making a sports bra or a swimsuit, or if you just want it nice and snug on that bottom waistline. All right, we're going to baste the top edges together. Once you baste the top edges together, we're going to give it a really nice, good press. You can see that the lining is slightly shorter than the main, so the main will wrap under to the underside just a little bit. That just helps it from the lining, keep the lining from peeking out. So we have it marked on the center front and the center back, so we're going to align those with right sides together with the bodice and the waistband. I did not baste the bottom edge of my bodice together, my main and my lining, but if you're a beginner, I do recommend you do that. We're going to stitch these together. Okay, now I like to add in a little clear elastic into mine. Even if it's a shirt, it just helps keep it tucked under the bust. If I'm doing a sports bra or swimsuit, I even use a thicker elastic like this. And all I do is do it 1-to-1 right to that exact same measurement. Make sure you always stretch your elastic a little bit before sewing it in there. If you're a beginner, I highly recommend measuring out the elastic you need before going and attaching it. If you end up with a wavy seam at all, that means you've put too much elastic in there, you're easing it in, and you're making it looser than it should be. If it's gathering up, you've stretched your elastic too tight. All right, all we need now is to hem up our sleeves. I have that memory press. The crease is still nice and strong here. So I'm just going to my cover stitch and hem it up, and I'm done. You can top stitch the neckline or maybe even the band if you wanted to. I like the clean finish, so I hardly ever top stitch, but you can if that is your preference. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped clarify anything you might have trouble with, and I hope you share your final notch top and dress with us.